In the Futurama movie Bender's Big Score, we see Bender steal the Nobel Peace Prize in the year 2308, after of which he is immediately chased by the Swedish Air Force. Notice that he is chased from Sweden all the way to New York, and that only when in New York do we see Bender use any weaponry. I think this was an intentional and important distinction, as New York and Sweden are almost 4,000 miles away from each other. This was meant to show that whatever happened to New York happened in only New York, while leaving the rest of the world intact. After New York gets destroyed by Bender, we see that a medieval society emerges from the ruins of New York City. This is important because it means after the destruction of New York City, no help ended up coming. I think this is because the damage Bender ended up inflicting spread further out through the state of New York, creating a disaster on the scale nobody was prepared for. This means the survivors would have been left to their own devices in a new giant wasteland. This is where the stage is set for the events of Disenchantment. In Bender's game we get to see the direct location of the Planet Express building in New York City. The Planet Express building appears to be located by an outstretch of the Hudson River. This is important because in Disenchantment we learn that the supposed sea is not really a sea but rather an outstretched river according to the maps shown in Disenchantment. Also, by looking at these maps we can see that all the locations we are looking at are very close to one another, only a few days travel, which is further supported by the fact that it only takes days to travel from one place to the other using poor means of transportation like horse. We also see that in a steam land ship one of the locations set in it is called Rat Island. Rat Island is a private island located in New York. All this together further supports that Disenchantment takes place in a localized third world portion of the state of New York during the late 24th century.
I'm gonna get 24th century on his ass.
This also explains the scene we see where the medieval society is destroyed. In Bender's Big Score we learned that it was Bender who both destroyed New York the first and second time. This is important because if the entire world was destroyed or Disenchantment took place in a different time period, then how would Bender have ended up back in New York unless he was being chased by a powerful airborne authority? Because it does not seem likely that steampunk blimps from Steamland would be able to do such a thing against a high-tech spacecraft like the one Bender was using. This also explains why the world in Futurama is roughly the same when it comes to countries and states, because if the entire world was destroyed and had to start over you would expect it to be completely different. It also explains why New York is called New York rather than something different. When the third world land got destroyed, the rest of the first world United States just reclaimed it and rebuilt New York on top of the ruins of old New York while rising sea levels destroyed any evidence of the third world time period. Other evidences for Disenchantment and Futurama being in the same timeline are: 1. Modern city tropes in Disenchantment. 2. Mountains behind Dreamland look like covered city ruin. 3. The forward time machine scene in Castle. 4. Steamland's existence. 5. A special coin scene in Futurama.